Hey YouTube, how's it going? I know my release schedule has been sporadic in that it hasn't been sticking to schedule, but I promise that I'm getting you content as I have stuff to talk about. In any case, let's get into what I'm doing here. So first off, what am I doing here? What gives? What's with all this animation that is different and not like the animation from before and stuff? Well, I don't know if any of you recall, but I had aimed when I kind of reset the project, so to speak, to try to make Rose and Thorn feel good before anything else. And I have determined that the animation that I was working on, the various bells and whistles, the fidelity I was going for was actually distracting away from the game design, and in fact, not only distracting, but straight up impeding the game design of Rose and Thorn. So I've decided to scrap all of the art and assets. Well, to be clear, when I say scrap, I just mean that I'm not using them for right now. I want to focus on making the game feel good first. So there are two primary reasons for this. As I said, for the first one, is just it was being distracting and getting away in the game design. And so what I mean by that is that I would create these animations and they'd be fine animations and stuff, but when putting them into the engine, it became clear that these animations weren't really game animations, if that makes sense. Or at least I wasn't able to edit them in a way that complemented the game, and instead it kind of just felt clunky and unresponsive. So, in removing all those aspects, in making myself basically not have to worry about kind of destroying my creations or making my work feel irrelevant, just removing all that stuff and keeping just these simple animations, which are just they're just tweening animations in engine. So none of this here is none of these things I made move around in a sprite or something. This is all basically this is all kind of generated animations. And the second big reason is because it has become clear that I cannot finish Rose and Thorn on my own, or at least not in I cannot achieve my vision for Rose and Thorn on my own. By this I mean I am not skilled enough of an artist. I feel like I'm an okay artist, but in order to reach what I want, I need an artist. And how do I get an artist? Well, I don't get an artist by being good at art. I get an artist by displaying that I can put in work to make a game, put in work to make a good game that feels nice, and then kind of advertise it to artists you can have your art on this. And that's the kind of thing that I got from I Am Game specifically. That line was from Tommy Oliver. Shouts out. So enough talking logistics. Let's talk about what I've actually done here. So first off, as you can see, the raw platforming of the game is basically completely functional. There is a couple hidden issues with ledge grabbing. I won't speak at length about ledge grabbing because I've talked about it in the past. There's a couple hidden issues in there, but I'm not going to worry about them. The important part is that it's all at a baseline very functional. What we should talk about really is the combo system, because that's actually new, or at least I've iterated upon it in new ways. So this new combo system has come with a change to the state machine. So I don't remember how much I've shared about this online, but before this recent update, Rose was working off of two parallel state machines, and what that means is it's two state machines running at the same time. So I had the move state machine, which just dictated how Rose moved around the map. Basically, it contained the ledge grabbing state, the move on ground state, and the move in the air state. And then I had an attack state machine, which handled the combat styles that Rose could be in. Right now, I only have one combat style implemented. That's this one right here. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I just want to kind of hammer home about the stuff I was talking about with the state machines. So that's what I had before, but I figured out that like with the attack state, especially with a combo system that is heavily platformy in nature, this combo system, I want you to use the combo system to do platforming challenges. So making the attack states separate from the move states is kind of wrong. It's kind of like just wrong-headed. You kind of need to have them all in the same place. So I put the attack states inside the move states, and they're not separate states in the move state machine. Instead, the attack state machine is just inside the move state machine. So what I mean is that there's now an attack state, and that attack state manages the attack state machine. That might sound kind of janky and confusing, but it's actually just kind of simple. It's just that, so you have one state machine that determines how the player moves. Are they moving on the ground? Are they moving in the air? Are they on a ledge? Or are they attacking? And if they're attacking, then movement is handled by the attack state and the various attack states. And the various attack states within that, and the various style states, what I'm calling them, within the attack state. So each style that Rose has will be a state in this state machine. And currently, that's what's happening. Like every time I'm like attacking, I'm in the attack state, and within the attack state, I am within the style state known as Wind Dance, which is a tentative name I've given this style. It makes a lot of sense though. I want it to be like a flowy style, and various moves kind of complement that sort of name nomenclature. So yeah. So having said all that, let's take a look at the style that Rose is in right now, the Wind Dance state, and let's take a look at the combo system they're in. So first off, Rose is a 3-hit combo. Boom, boom, boom. It's a 2 basic attacks and then 1 strong hit. Pretty standard stuff. So that's the regular 3-hit combo if you're just attacking horizontally. However, if you hold the down direction, you do this other kind of special move at the 3rd hit, which is like a knockback. So if you're getting swarmed by enemies, you can do this knockback, or if you want to hit something really hard, you can do the regular one. And again, that's just done by like switching the directions of the attack, where this is just horizontal, and this is if you go downwards. Now, there's also attacking upwards, but for right now, the upwards attack does not have a special attack. It just is a constant thing. And the same thing can be said for the downward attacks as well as the upward attacks in the air. And horizontal attacks in the air as well do not have the normal 3-hit. I'll just show you that real fast. There you go. So that kind of covers all of the moves that Rose has in her combo, except for the attack that you guys have been seeing me kind of do off and on all around. This little dash move. And you guys might be wondering, like, this dash move looks kind of overpowered, right? If you can just do it all the time, then, like, what's the point? You can just do this to all the enemies, and it looks like it kind of makes you invincible, and it does damage to the enemies, like it can knock them around and stuff, so why not always use that? Well, the reason that it's not as overpowered as you might think it is because this is a magical attack and will consume a resource, your mana. And you can gain mana back by hitting enemies, but let's say you use this once at the beginning of the game, that'll basically deplete your mana bar, because it's a very powerful attack. It has the most displacement of all of your attacks and moves. Just as a proof of concept, I'll just do it real fast. There you go. And again, like as I said before, like you're invulnerable. You do damage to enemies and you knock them around. It's a very powerful attack, and so I want it to be appropriately costly. So that'll use your mana that it doesn't replenish automatically. But you'll also have a stamina bar for regular attacks, like all these things. This won't be consumed by grabbing ledges and, like, jumping and running, but it will be consumed by using your attacks, your regular attacks and your dodges. And I also plan to have, like, some refund mechanics for really cool things that you can do in the future. But for now, none of that is implemented. So what are the consequences of all of these attacks and stuff? Well, the kind of gameplay I want in Rose and Thorn is that I want you to be able to not only feel cool, like slapping enemies around and doing combos and stuff, while obviously I want that to happen, I also want you to feel cool using enemies to platform and using your attack abilities to platform. So let's say I was trying to get up this ledge using my attacks. Now, I could do something like this, where I use my dash move and I'm able to jump at the height of my jump. I use my dash move to grab onto the ledge, and now I'm up here. But now I have another obstacle where I can't get up here, and I just used my mana, and I just said, like, you know, you're going to be able to use it like maybe once before you run out of mana. So I don't have it again, and there's nothing to charge my mana up here, so there's nothing I can do. But let's say I go back here, and I have this enemy right here. How can I use this guy to get up there? Well, I could do something like this. There. So let me explain a bit about what just happened. So, first off, when you attack downwards, while you're in the air, you do an automatic little hop. Now, I'm not pressing a button there, I'm just hitting the attack key, and off the attack key, I'm kind of jumping up. So this is kind of like in Hollow Knight, where if you hit something while you're attacking downwards, you do a little hop. Though you have a little bit less control over this one because you always go in the direction that you're facing when you make the attack. So I'm not telling the controller to move to the right here. It's doing that because I attack something and I was already facing right. And if I face left, it's the same. Oops, it's the same. Oh, and if I face left, it's the same deal. And another part of attacking in the air is if you hit something while you are in the air, no matter what direction you hit it, you can then jump. So, for example, let's say I hit this guy upwards, I can do something like this. Though enemies will not have the health to sustain this sort of thing, you can kind of juggle yourself as well as an enemy into the air. So the consequence here is that if you set up an enemy correctly, you can jump attack, you can jump in the air, attack downwards, and then jump again in order to achieve higher heights. And then now that I'm up here, I have the mana to actually get over this obstacle and, you know, further on the path. Now, obviously, there's no path here because this is just a test room, but this is just to show that, you know, you can use your game mechanics in order to kind of cross obstacles in different ways. And there are many ways you could tackle this specific sort of thing. So, for example, I have this enemy right here. I'm going to use game mechanics to kind of push him over. So let's say I have this a steep ledge and I can't cross it using my normal abilities, but I have an enemy right here that I could use for this. So I could do something like this. And boom, I'm at the other side of the ledge now, and I still have the mana to do something like this again. So there are a wide array of applications. These are just two that I still thought of while trying to, you know, how to communicate some of these mechanics in this devlog. So obviously one can do a lot with this if they tried. And it's kind of everything in terms of like the raw game mechanics that I've been able to design so far. I'm going to basically be moving forward from here and creating more of the Rosa styles. I have some of them cooked up that maybe I can talk about in a future video. And then I want to start trying to piece together the first level again. As you might recall, I had a level completed. I'm going to revisit that with these new mechanics and hopefully design an area where you can learn quickly, but not, you know, I don't want to speed the player through it because I want them to understand that, you know, these attacks have a wide array of applications. So I'm hoping that I can kind of show off some of those applications in the tutorial enough to make the player start thinking about it, and then from there I can like let the player kind of experiment with it. Anyway, so if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you really like the things that I'm doing here, maybe consider dropping $1 on Patreon. Or if you don't have the economics for it, or if you just don't want to, you can maybe share it around with your friends who, like, you know, would enjoy a game like this, or enjoy the aesthetic of a game like this, as shown in my other videos. If you're interested in having a conversation about video games, my video games or others, you can head over to my Discord server in the description. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter for semi-regular game dev updates. And yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching.